What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I've got another incredibly important AMC update to bring all of you this afternoon. So what we're going to be covering in this video is this Citadel, Apex Clearing, Robinhood, Morgan Stanley, E-Trade, AMC, GameStop conspiracy lawsuit that has been filed. Now, this lawsuit originally came up about a month ago, but it has recently resurfaced, and I think this is something that you guys all need to understand. The actual language in this lawsuit is incredibly bullish for us as AMC shareholders, and in my opinion, it's a very good sign to see that there are people working on litigation for what happened back in January, so maybe this situation that we saw at that time could never happen again. Now, we also have AMC's shareholder count potentially coming out today, and I want to briefly cover that as well and just kind of go over and kind of manage everybody's expectations for exactly what is going on. So before we get into all of that information, if you enjoyed the information and analysis that I provide for you in this video, make sure you go down and hit that like button. It costs you nothing to do it, but it really helps us out a whole lot in getting this information out to as many people as possible. And if you want to earn 2 free stocks with Webull, valued up to $1,850, make sure you check out that link down below in my description. So the reason I have this chart pulled up like this is look at where we are trading at AMC today. So at the current time that I am recording, we are currently bouncing up and below and basically around in circles this $50 price point. So I want to take a look at this chart very quickly. So back on May 27th, we started to see a pretty strong AMC rally all the way up into this $30 range. We then saw a sell-off, a brief period of consolidation before we started on the uptrend again. And again, sell-off, brief consolidation, and a rocket up. We recently just came off one of the most bullish weeks in AMC history, and we are now in this period of consolidation. Now, when we come over to the option chain, so the option chain for this week, we can pull that up really quickly. Nothing really is jumping out at me that is screaming gamma squeeze coming into this week. We have 30,000 contracts in the open interest at this $60 strike. But when you look at the contracts already in the money or pretty close to the money, nothing really substantial is showing me that if we have a couple of good green days coming up for AMC, a pretty substantial gamma squeeze. But when we come over to the next week expiration, we still have, let's see if I can pull this up here, the $40 strike for June 18th still has an open interest of 125,000. So this is about 100,000 contracts less than we saw about 2 weeks ago, meaning that a lot of people may have already exercised these contracts to buy shares of AMC at 40, sold their contracts to buy more shares, or sold their contracts to do what is called rolling over, meaning they bought new options contracts further out of the money with a further expiration date. Now, we are also seeing at this $50 strike, 23,000 contracts on the open interest over here, and this 59 and 60 is also showing us a lot as well. We saw a battle yesterday for AMC at this $59 price point, $59 and $60 price point, and the institutions do not want to have to cover all of these options contracts. Now, something else that I want to point out, I'm going to bring this up in every single one of my videos going forward. Ortex data at the current time is no longer really reliable in my opinion. Previously, we did know that we were not getting the full picture as Ortex only gives us about 85% of all of the market data. And when you look at who they're getting their data from, it is S&P Global, and S&P is also the institution that was not correctly rating the different bonds back in 2008. So I don't really put a lot of trust in them anyway, but Ortex as a company is unbelievable. I'm not trying to knock them in any way. But what we have to look at here is that the return shares is about 5.94 million on the day at the current time that I'm recording, and the borrowed shares is at about 3.79 million, and the short interest is actually decreasing. Now, if we were to see actual shorts covering in a large scale that is being suggested by all of this data, we would see the share price of AMC going to the upside. We would not see these types of red days that we are seeing right now. There are a lot of ways that the funds and institutions can manipulate the data that is being sent to S&P and then being sent to Ortex. So the only indicators that are going to tell me at the current time that we would be in the squeeze, again, we are not in the squeeze at the current time. We actually could end up getting into the squeeze over the next couple of weeks, but right now the squeeze is not happening. But the indicators that are going to tell me that the squeeze is happening is one, market-wide sell-offs due to forced liquidations at these over-leveraged hedge funds and hedge fund bankruptcies that are going to be making the news. Until those indicators are actually apparent out in the market, I am not even considering the sell button to exist. Now, let's get into this very important lawsuit. So when we come over to this SEC filing, this is a Form S-4. We can see up here as filed with the Securities and Exchange Commission on June 4th, 2021. So this is essentially from Northern Star Investment Corp. So what we have to look at first is this language down here. Pursuant to the merger agreement, at the time of the initial merger, each issued an outstanding membership interest of Apex Fintech will be automatically converted into the right to receive a number of shares of Northern Star. So what is going on throughout this SEC filing is a merger agreement between Apex Clearing, which is a clearing corporation that works with a lot of these different brokerages. We can actually see this right here, I think. So Ally Invest uses Apex. We can see that First Trade uses Apex. M1 Finance uses them. Sorry about that. And we can see that Robinhood now has its own clearinghouse. SoFi, Tastyworks uses Apex, and we also have Webull down here as well, and Public. So Apex Clearing has their arm in a lot of these different brokerages. So what's really going on in this actual SEC filing is that Apex Clearing is trying to go public through a SPAC through Northern Star. So Apex Clearing LLC, the Dallas-based fintech behind a custody and clearing engine that's powering the future of digital wealth management, has entered into a definitive merger agreement with Northern Star Investment Corp. 2, a blank check special purpose acquisition company, or also known as a SPAC. Now, here's what happens when these types of mergers occur. They have to basically disclose everything that is going on with the business. And Apex, if you guys remember, was very much involved in the shutting off of buying on all of the different brokerages back in January when Robinhood was shutting off buying. We saw Webull do the same thing for a brief period of time, TD. And it all had to do with all of these stocks, AMC and GameStop in particular, shooting up. Now, when we come over to this language, Apex is a defendant in a series of putative cases, class actions arising out of the same alleged conduct captioned as Eisen versus Apex Clearing Corporation, Interactive Brokers. And we can see down here, let's highlight this so you guys can all see. These are all of the cases that have been brought against Apex. And let's take a look at the exact language that these cases are essentially bringing. So plaintiffs allege that Apex, along with over 30 other brokerages, trading firms, and or clearing firms, including Morgan Stanley, E-Trade, Interactive Brokers, Charles Schwab, Robinhood, Barclays, Citadel, and the DTCC, engaged in a coordinated conspiracy in violation of antitrust laws to prevent retail customers from operating and trading freely, in a conspiracy to allow certain of the other defendants, primarily hedge funds, to stop losing money on short sale positions in GameStop, AMC, and certain other securities. The matters were brought as class actions alleging violations of federal and state antitrust laws, securities laws, unfair competition, and dissemination of untrue and misleading statements, as well as negligence, breach of fiduciary duty, constructive fraud, and breach of implied covenants in good faith and fair dealing. So these lawsuits have been continuously piling up since around April. So these are not necessarily new lawsuits, but the fact that they are being disclosed in this S4, this merger agreement between Apex and Northern Star, is incredibly important, and I think that everybody should know that this is going on. It's not like there aren't lawsuits going on about what happened back in January. Everybody is trying to figure out exactly what happened, and essentially make sure that this can never happen again. This could actually help us in the future when all of these AMC and GameStop squeezes actually happen. But the thing is that these lawsuits are going to be drawn out for an extended period of time. So most likely the cases are not going to be finalized by the time that this squeeze has squozen. So this is some information that I really wanted you guys to be aware of, that there are legal proceedings going on at the current time, and people are aware of what has happened in January, and they're trying to never let this happen again. Now let's get into this shareholder count situation that could be released today. So coming over here, AMC expects to receive an approximate count of the number of individual shareholders whose trades have settled as of June 2nd. So if you remember the actual time period around June 2nd, the Monday of that week was Memorial Day, and then June 2nd was the Tuesday after. So the trades and the actual buys in order to count as a shareholder would have had to be made on the Thursday or Friday before that actual the record date of June 2nd. So, and they will release this information as soon as it is available, which is currently anticipated to be no later than June 9th. So that is today. So here's what I want to say about this. A lot of people are getting very hyped up about this shareholder count. Now, as of March, there were about 3.2 million individual AMC shareholders. That is pretty incredible news, because it means that if AMC shareholders own about on average of about 200 shares, then the amount of shares that are actually out in the market could be higher than 600 million. If we see the individual shareholder number actually shoot up to maybe 4 million, 4.5 million, 5 million, that just means that the math is starting to work more in our favor. We don't actually know the averages of all of our individual shareholders, but we can do some pretty basic math to kind of do some speculative calculations. Now, here's also what I want to say. If we do not receive the data that we really are hoping for from this actual shareholder count, one, it is not the end of the world at all. The math is still the same. The due diligence is still the same that people have been doing over the last 6 months, and I do not want people to set dates for when this squeeze could potentially happen, or when massive information could potentially come out that could affect the share price. My strategy right now is to buy and hold until I see those indicators that I discussed earlier in this video. And if we receive good news along the way, that is great, but nothing is going to change my conviction on this stock. So that is going to conclude this update on AMC. If you guys enjoyed the information and analysis that I provided for you in this video, make sure you go down and hit that like button. It costs you nothing to do it, but it really helps me out a whole lot in getting this information out to as many people as possible. And if you want to see more videos like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video, so you get to stay up to date on all of your favorite stocks, learn about a couple of new ones, and see exactly which options I am trading and which strategies I am using to trade them. So I hope you guys are having a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.